Hello and welcome. I can't hear anything. I love it when the show starts like that. I had sound, I was listening to everything else, and now there's nothing. No sound at all. We will figure that out in a second. Let's do the headlines. The third of official care staff still not vaccinated. How's this happened? The Health Secretary confirms a jab has been offered to everyone in the UK's top 4 priority groups, but a third of the social care staff have not been vaccinated yet. Plan to end lockdown is cautious but irreversible. Boris Johnson says the government will set out its plans on the 22nd of February, which could include target dates to open schools and hospitality. First travellers arrive for hotel quarantine stay. Arrivals from the red list countries must pay £1,750 to spend 10 days in government-sanctioned hotels. And concerns at vaccine disparity in BAME health staff. I think that's BAME, I think. A new study finds fewer South African and black health workers have come forward for a COVID-19 jab. Right, now, I'm going to bring him on, but I can't hear him.
Oh, it's me.
Now, you can hear me fine, obviously. Perfect.
Yes.
Great.
Yes, Mr. Tumble. That's a sign.
What was that?
That's yes in sign language.
No, I'm taking these out. Let's start with that. Grant's in as well.
Dear me.
So, bear with.
No worries.
Let's try that one.
Maybe we need to do a Macathon sign version of this show.
This is just... Grant, you two talked amongst yourselves for a second.
Yeah.
Hello, Grant, how are you? I can't hear you, but I can see you.
Technical problems that guy has is unreal.
It is. Mind you, I'm going to do the same, actually. I'm going to sort my mic out.
I think we should do a signed Macathon version of the show. I think that'd be quite good. A Mr. Tumble version of Bullock's Banter.
I mean, this guy's supposed to be like the audio specialist. What's going on?
Oh, I don't know. I think he fell on his sword because his comments to me was, this isn't my first rodeo, which stick with me a little bit, but he feels like it is his first rodeo every show. Dear me, bless. Look how confused that look is on his face. He just looks, he's desperate. And the trouble is, I had a gig once, and I got this really complicated mixing desk. It's a virtual mixing desk. So there's no sliders, nothing. It's all done on an app. And all your plugs go into this fantastic little box, which actually my laptop's on at the moment. And it decided to lose Wi-Fi. And we were playing at Plymouth Rugby Club. The place is full in the marquee, and I can't get any sound coming out. And it's amazing the pressure that I literally, all my senses went, and my singing guitarist decided that he'd just walk off and he wasn't bothered, just go and get a drink. You'll sort it, won't you, Daz? I was like, yeah. And I was thinking, I haven't got a clue. I had to press a reset button on the actual mixer, which I had to go and ask a barmaid for a re-ring so I could literally do that to put it in the little hole. And I just couldn't think. And the more you try and think about it, I literally had to go out onto the pitch and sit there and let my brain come back, because I was just panicking, absolutely panicking. It was about 40 minutes late. But that's what Matt's doing now. He's panicking. He's trying to work
You
out.
sorted it, did you?
Yeah, that earring did it. I reset the mixer and that earring did it. It all kicked into life and I could connect. I was like, oh my God, it was a rubbish gig. It was a really bad gig anyway.
Should have just restarted it.
Yeah, I know. Well, I couldn't do it. I was looking everywhere for a pin. I was poking a pen in there and whatever else. But it was an earring at the end of the day from the barmaid. So that's what Matt needs to do. He needs to go and plug an earring into somewhere. And mind you, that sounds a little bit. How are you, Grant?
So what's on the agenda today? Have we? Has he done the roundup?
I don't think he has. He did the news roundup. But it's all. I think it's all lockdown stuff today and release, which I suppose is pretty topical.
It's looking that way. I've got the telly on actually. I've been, because it's been all over the news this morning, and I don't listen to the news very often, and every now and again I just get a little sort of blast of it, and so I put the telly on. I've got it on in the background, and so apparently there's a bunch of MPs that have got together that are pressurising Boris to actually say that the lockdown needs to be ended end of April.
Yeah.
And they're I think so like a full end to all restrictions.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I just pulled up the Sun newspaper. I don't read the Sun at all, but my wife has it on an app, and she constantly quotes them, and I'm like, oh, the chuffing Sun every time. Who reads it? But you know what? Every time they've quoted something before the announcement, they've been right. So they've obviously got an inside track somewhere. That's an immense amount of his. You got a snake in there with you, Matt, or something.
Oh, we got his now.
His? My God. You sound like you're closer to the seaside than me.
And there's no sound. There's hardly any sound. I thought he's supposed to. He's supposed to be a sound expert. You're on mute.
Imagine booking him for your wedding. Imagine him turning up for your wedding. It wouldn't be good, would it?
No. You're really quiet.
Really quiet. That's fine. That's all right.
Beautiful.
Is that better?
Now you're echoing. Is this some kind of joke?
No.
Are you doing this for a laugh?
It's not. I am not. Believe me, I'm not finding this funny at all.
Is this trying to show all the pitfalls of hosting your own show? You're trying to, teach people what can go wrong.
Right. Here we go.
Right.
You see that everything was set up perfectly. There's no hiss now, is there? Nothing.
No hiss.
It's just really quiet.
All right, Grant. Turn your
Matt, it's quiet, mate. It's quiet.
How about now?
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is that loud now?
It's a bit louder.
Oh, yeah. Get lost. It's massively loud, that is. That's everything's at the top.
Yeah, it's loud in my ears.
I think you've got a problem with it somewhere, because you can hear the distortion because it's obviously so loud, but it's actually quiet.
Okay, hang a minute. Here we go. Testing 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Hello. How about that now?
It's all right until we move back.
No. Sorry, mate. It's up the chute.
Oh,
I want to know what's wrong. I've just figured out what's wrong.
It's in.
It's painful.
It's in control panel in the app in the Mac, is it?
No.
I think it could be user error.
Yeah.
It is.
We used to have this in the IT world when somebody used to do this. We used to say it's an ID 10T error. I don't know if you heard that, an ID 10T error. And if you write down ID 10T, if you write that down,
idiot.
Thank you.
So is that better now?
It's still really quiet.
It's not for me. It sounds all right for me.
Is it? You sound nice and loud, Darren, but Matt sounds quiet.
You see, I can't turn up the M audio too far because that'll clip. So let me just. I don't want any distortion. Is that better now?
No, you've got a problem somewhere, mate, because it's it's nice and clear, but
is that your
quiet.
technical analysis? You've got a problem.
If you need me to come and help, no problem.
I reckon Tina could come in and help, to be honest.
Right, we're gonna,
I think we can get by. We can get by. Just shout.
Yeah.
Right, we're on that now.
There we
go.
Back in the room.
I'm on the Mat Book now. The Mat Book. Hello, everybody.
That's loud now.
Oh, is it? Well, that's the way you have it. How is everybody? I'm having. You know what? I'm going to swear. I'm just having a shit day. I feel really shit today. Sorry.
No.
It is. Don't know. Woke up, just felt in a really can't be arsed mood. How about that one? Lovely weekend. Lovely. Just can't feel it. Not feeling it today.
No.
But I thought.
Shall we talk about Valentine's meals? What did you eat, Matt, yesterday? What did you have for your
Valentine's meal? Wow. Well, now, obviously a bit of a cook. So we had, we went for asparagus for starters, wrapped in Parma ham, and then I usually microwave those. How much detail do you want?
Not that much.
We're only got half an hour, but carry on.
Asparagus wrapped in Parma ham, and then steak with air fried chips. And it was
what are air fried chips like? What are they like, air fried chips?
They're great.
Really?
They are. Got an air fryer, and it's the best thing I've ever purchased. Absolutely amazing.
Better than your mic.
Does it taste fried? Does it taste like, chip shop chips or? Yeah, better than you. I was a bit slowly upside there. I was thinking microwave.
Yeah. I'll chuck Grant off in a minute. Yeah, it's like they're not like deep fat chips. Obviously, they're not like chip shop chips because it can't be. But you know, you boil them and you cook them 3 times. Basically, is always the trick, and then you just air fry them at the end, and it's just exceptionally hot, and it cooks the outside of it really fast. But yeah, it's good.
And what steak? What steak do you have?
Beef.
You know, they do pork steaks and lamb steaks.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Rumps. We just had rump.
Rump.
Steak.
No, you say just rump. I'm a butcher's son, and rump is always my go-to steak. Though I have to
It
admit,
is.
I
It's a
remember
good.
I love it. I have gone a little bit ribeye of late because that little bit of fat in the middle. But yeah, rump is. I'd have rump over sirloin.
Well, you see, if being as you say, you're a butcher's son, it's gonna. I'm gonna say because mine's just. I cook mine for 20 minutes. I just like it completely burnt. I don't like any fat on it. Gone.
Oh, well.
Tina is 40 seconds either side. Oh.
Sounds good. Yeah.
It's like I've said it before on this show. Actually, you cut through a steak and it looks like Turkish delight.
That's how it should look.
No, it shouldn't.
It's good steak. That's the way to have it, isn't it?
It is. If it's a good steak, but I don't want to know.
No,
I don't. Yeah. Grant, what did you have? Takeaway. You can't remember.
What was it yesterday?
Valentine's Day was yesterday.
You forgot.
Yeah, we basically had loads of chocolate. That was Valentine's.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, we didn't do anything. We actually we had Meals on Wheels. Our mother-in-law actually cooked us a load of food and delivered it in these kind of. It was just like getting a Deliveroo. She pulls up at the door with like all these specialist bags because she's a chef, you see, Abby's mum, and
nice.
She's all sort of masked up and stuff, and leaves it at the door. And yeah, so we had all that on Saturday.
Okay, so was this something specifically for Valentine's Day?
No, because so what would normally happen outside of lockdown is that every sort of birthday or whatever, Abby's mom would have us round for something to eat, or we'd go out for a meal.
Right.
So because she's a chef, what she's been doing during lockdown is just sort of organising. It keeps her, because she lives on her own, and so obviously she's in a bubble with Abby's sister, but she obviously has plenty of time on her hands. Yeah. So she just does these really extravagant meals. She's done it for years for us, but obviously we used to go around to the house to eat it. So she's just been doing that. She's been cooking like a full-on, gourmet meal and delivering it in these massive like heat-proof bags. And she did that for us on Saturday, and there wasn't. I don't think there was an occasion. It wasn't really an occasion this time. She did it all a couple of weeks ago for Abby's birthday.
Right.
But it lasts us all weekend then. So we ended up eating that on Valentine's Day. No point me cooking anything because beans on toast doesn't go down too well on Valentine's Day.
You could cut the toast into a heart shape. You could. That's the other trick. Bit of toast, heart shape.
I bought her a couple of presents and bit of chocolate. Usual stuff. That's what keeps Abby happy.
That's what it's all about. That's all right. That's fine. That's good. It's funny that you're talking about food there. Sorry, Darren, what did you have? Sorry, because you
no, it's okay. My wife's a fantastic cook, but yesterday we had a Chinese platter. We just got loads of sort of selection of all the Chinese, bit of duck, bit of just literally had a Chinese, like you're going to a all you can eat Chinese. It was great, Cantonese. So yeah,
that's good.
Different for us, yeah. So very nice.
As long as it's nice and everybody enjoys it, that's the most important thing. Yes. But the funniest thing, I was just watching on the news, and they had the Environmental Health Council people on, talking about how many people are starting to cook at home and selling it and delivering it locally. And of course, that goes against everything environmental health wise. Because they all like to come and check you, where Grant will know all about this, where you check your kitchens and all that to make sure everything's clean and tidy so no one gets food poisoning. But there is an increase of food poisoning because people are cooking food at home and selling it and just dropping it round someone's house. And it's just, I just thought, that is really weird. No. No, you wouldn't know that, Grant, because you haven't had one. I haven't brought one round. But people are starting up their little micro businesses, cooking food and then delivering it local. But that's against the law. You're not supposed to do that at all. So it's all right doing it free. It's all right to do it free. So if you poison someone for free, not a problem at all. Knock yourself out.
No, that's it.
But-
Health and safety doesn't count if you're not charging.
That's exactly right. There's a lot of micro business, which I thought was quite interesting. Has anybody else got any other thoughts about little micro businesses or side hustles, as the Americans like to call them, that people are starting up?
People brewing home brew.
There is. I do know that. Has anybody ever attempted that? Other than Grant doesn't count you because you actually bought a brewery. That's not home brewing.
No, that would have taken a lot of drinking.
You gave it a go sometimes, but yeah, I think home brew is. I think Pete had a go at started doing some wine, but I'm always very unsure. Someone gave us a bottle of Christmas. They brewed themselves a bottle of red.
I think the one thing I learned when I was doing the brewing is that it's very scientific, and it can go wrong so easily. So, I remember when we obviously brewed loads of different beers, and we came up with recipes ourselves and stuff. And it's very easy to get it wrong. And even the big guys, I mean, Brewdog, who are probably my favourite at the moment, I just think they've really got it nailed with the stuff that they're doing at the moment. But there's an interesting thing on YouTube that I was watching where they did a journalist who was like a reviewer went and helped them brew a beer, and they've got these enormous fermenting cylinders, huge big tall things that are like 2 stories high, and he basically cocked up an entire batch, and the whole thing turned to sludge because so you imagine people home brewing, it's so easy to get it wrong, and it's so easy that it tastes like horrible.
Yeah, a lot of money out there. So, well, the best one I had was is cider. I had a friend when I used to live in Netherseal, just in Derbyshire. They all had loads of apple trees, and they decided to buy a press as a group of people and create a little cider club. And they brewed this cider. I moved down here actually, and they brought some down for me when they come to visit. And he said, "Just drink a little bit at a time, don't try and drink a pint." I was like, whatever. And they bought this, I don't know what they call them, then fancy looking big bottles, whatever, like a
demi-jar things,
whatever, with a corky thing in it. And I thought, I don't know what he's talking about. And anyway, I tasted it. I could see why. It was absolutely the best cider I've ever tasted by far. But if you drank more than half a pint, you'd lose all of your stomach lining. It was so strong. It was incredible, absolutely, but it was so lovely. But it was more like a shot than it was cider. But yeah,
it's just that's scrumpy though, isn't it? It's like a scrumpy. Yeah. And that's I don't get on with that at all. Absolutely awful. But just going back to the brewing side of things, Grant. If I remember rightly, don't you? I know we didn't get involved with the actual brewing section, but you get charged by the government tax on the products that you buy. And how much it's going to make. It's because I remember Mark Gregory from Seal Hill telling me this, that if he buys X amount of yeast and X amount of this and that, the government will charge you a tax on actually the product before you've actually made the product. And it's just, I think it's that.
From memory, we used to have to fill out a form every month or every quarter, based on how much you'd brewed. And I think it went on the percentage of the volume. I think that's what it was from memory. But if you there's up to a certain level, and I can't remember what they are, you get like relief on it. It's cheaper to do, and then as soon as you hit a bigger quantity, that the tax goes up. And the small brewers were always arguing over this, and obviously the big brewers as well, because it's it's quite heavy, the tax. But you have to be really on the ball, and they come and inspect you as well. They'll come around and check it all out, and they're pretty thorough. But I think I'm pretty sure it was based on the volume, as in the percentage of the beer.
Because I remember Mark saying once that he bought the hops and all that, and he had a massive mistake, basically a cock up, and he had to throw it all away. But you can't just because they've said, well, you've bought that, so
Yeah.
that's taxable on that, so you can't just throw it away. You then have to say, well, I've had to throw this amount away because of this has happened, or else you get charged a fortune.
I don't remember it being like that, because I know that,
Yeah, that's
we bought it and cocked up a couple of barrels, because it went wrong. I don't know whether we got charged for it.
I think this was because Mark is obviously a 100-barreler now. I think he's
well, he's a lot bigger than we were. We were only like little.
It's only a micro brewery, wasn't he? But yeah, I just think there must be a simpler way of taxing, but I suppose there isn't, because it's, you could make it and not tell anybody. That's the thing, because it was all about buying it at source. I think it was.
There's always a simpler way of taxing. Taxing is just seems to be they make it complicated on purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
on that note, St Austell Brewery have written, haven't they, to the PM and Parliament about trying to help pubs sustain for this lockdown, because they're saying that they cannot cope with the handouts they've got so far. And if we go through to, I think we're looking like pubs will be the last in May, at the start of May. That's the way the Sun's saying it, and the Sun seems to be.
Oh, they know everything.
The PM, they do somehow. But yeah, so if they open up in May, they've missed so much trade over you imagine the Christmas period and whatever else, and they're saying it's just not sustainable anymore. So them pubs, though, I said optimistically that we're all going to, go out and bilge on all this stuff that we haven't been able to have. I do wonder how many of these places are going to be able to open when they'll
never replace, they'll never reap back what they've missed, because that just doesn't happen like that. There'll be an uptake and a probably increase of a normal week, but there's no way they're going to get it back. So it is when they reopen for the May, then unless there's support there it's going to be a load of them falling over, unfortunately.
Well, they're saying it could be 40% of the hospitality industry could be going out of business. Yeah,
we just don't know until they reopen.
Well, we're the same. Trying to look at opening one in St Ives, a new site in St Ives, and another one in Paynton. I'm sitting here now getting container offices ready to go in there and everything else, but I don't know if I'm opening the 1st of April, which would be our 2-week holiday period where we would take a significant amount of money. If we miss that and we open in May, well, I'm not in so much a rush to open in May, because there's no holiday trade to, it's dribs and drabs, and also people won't be allowed anyway. That's going to be a slow feed. So I don't know how the holiday parks, and getting communication back from some of the holiday parks is quite hard, because we're just not high on their priority list at this moment in time. They're probably sitting here thinking, all them bookings, like I've got a holiday in Woolacombe for 5 days, which was deferred from last March to this April, and we won't be going. It's going to be deferred again. So they're having to move everybody again, and all that money, they've already taken that money a year ago, so they have to move it all again. So I don't know how the hospitality trade, pubs, holiday parks, all that sort of stuff, restaurants, it's just so hard.
I think
really hard.
Once they sit down and work out the whole, or look at it and analyse everything, the whole epidemic, that I think we'll lose 2 years worth of trade. Really, for the leisure industry at least, because I don't think even May they're still. I don't know what. I know the Sun are saying the pubs will reopen, but there's still going to be social distancing, isn't there, for May? So it's. I think we're going to wipe this year out again. I think everybody needs to look at after the end of this year. I think everything will get back to normal for the summer, but I don't think back to normal as such. 2022, I think.
Yeah, and I think talks as well about tiers is falling away, isn't it? And again, this is all speculation, but they're saying now that we'll come out and not go into a tier system, but I don't know how that will work. So it's going to be really, I think it's the 22nd, isn't it? We get some more clarity.
Yeah. So well, he's on tonight, isn't he? He's talking today at 5.
Talking about schools, I think, today, and then...
Yeah, so that's important. But and then they're discussing this week and then releasing the information on the 22nd, which hopefully they'll, we can move forward with it. But we'll just have to see.
It's really hard because you don't want to come out of this too soon. There's no point of going through all this pain if we come out too soon and then have another dip. So it's got to be such an incredibly hard decision to take. To say, because everyone's going to be sitting there blaming either side of the fence. If you come out too soon and we dip, everyone will say you come out too soon. If we come out too late, and I just it's having an impact on industry. there's no right answer, is there? I don't know how you judge and get that right.
You just got to. It's baby steps as we come out. It's got to be.
Yeah,
there's no way you can do it until we get the majority to have the jab. Then that'll be cool. But it's still time to go. I think. What's your thoughts on it?
I don't quite get the maths on this, because 15 million people have been offered the jab. I don't know how many people that actually had it. It's another one of those weird statistics, isn't it? We don't need
I thought that haven't they done over 15?
No, they've done 15 million. They've done 15
no,
million.
They've jabbed.
I watched it
2 days early.
So that's 15 million people of the most vulnerable people have been inoculated, and that means that they're now up to, what is it, 80%
cover.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Surely then, if you do the numbers, if the jab works, surely we're literally only a couple of weeks away from being able to say, right, we can crack on.
But the funny thing is, and it's not funny, but those people who are could be seriously ill with this don't go out anyway. The majority are in homes.
I don't understand.
But you're taking it back to a moment.
I really don't.
I think, and it's only listening to someone on TV this morning that talking about variants, and what you mentioned it on Friday about the UK variants, and apparently that is a thing, a UK variant, because what's happening is it's morphing, and it has a chance to morph even more here in the UK, and it has to produce. It only has to have two steps off the variant before you become that vaccine doesn't work again. So what they're really worried about is these new variants. That's what he was saying this morning. These new variants, they could literally eat through us. So if you don't get it all down as much as possible, not just the vulnerable, but anybody who's got it, then we've got a chance of mutations, and then mutations again just opens everybody back up again to whatever that variant is, and going back through the process again. But again, but it is hard. I think we're me and you, Matt, over 50s. We're not far off now, are we? So
no, I think we're in the next few weeks. I think I suspect. So hopefully it will be. How old are you now, Grant? You're
48.
Sprightly 48.
48.
Same age as my wife. So she's. So we'll get it first. And then, you know what? I'm going to go out then. I don't care. We'll go out.
One thing for perhaps one of the things later in the week is trying to figure out what to do about holidays, because we've booked a holiday for this summer, and it's one of those holidays. We go down to France every year. We have to book different hotels and stuff. We don't even know if we're going to be allowed to go. Is France going to let us in? Abby's had a vaccination, but nobody else in the household has. Does that mean, is it going to be a case of you can't come in unless you had a vaccination, or are they still going to be doing testing? So,
have you budgeted for the extra holiday on the way back? That's the thing. That's 1,750 quid.
1,750 quid per person.
Yeah,
per person.
You're going to be doing that.
Stay in your room. Yeah.
But France is not in a red. Is not a red country, is it? It's not. It's not on the red list. France.
I don't know.
Because our neighbour's just come back from Canada, and that's not on the red list. He's just come back in, no problem at all. Came back today.
Oh, right. So it's not every country. I thought the borders were closed completely.
No, it's only red countries. Only red countries. I'm not sure what that list is.
Down again. Apparently they've got it pretty bad.
But it's such a big country. I think it's only sections of it that were locked down. So it's something to look at on Friday, because obviously Wednesday we have a electric car expert on the show. Don't you know? He'll be talking about batteries for the electric cars. He's involved with disposing them correctly, how dangerous they actually are. He told me a very quick story last week regarding the batteries if they catch fire. The fire engines turn up, just let them burn. They can't do anything with them. Can't do anything.
Top Gear, that was a great one where Richard Hammond crashed that car, and the fire went on for 2 or 3 days, didn't it?
2 days. That's right.
To the air. And like you say, there's not much you can do. It's just a chain reaction of the cells catching.
I look forward to that one. I do look forward to that one.
So Russ is environmental person. He's going to give me his full description of his job tomorrow when I've got a little brief meeting with him. So we'll know all about more. But he works for BMW, basically. That's who he works for. So it's going to be an interesting chat, and he's got all the stats and all the figures and how well we're doing on electric cars and the future of the batteries, because the batteries is always the one that's is the problem with electric cars because of the range and everything. I mean, I was watching I know we've nearly had we had a time, but Joe Rogan had Musk on again the past few days, and he was telling him about the airbag situation in the Tesla, that it adapts to where you're sat on the seat. Did you know this, Grant? That if you're sat right back, it knows where you're sat, so it'll give a more of a blast out with the airbag. But if you're sat more towards the front of your seat and leaning forward, it knows and it won't come out as far. He's actually saying that in a Tesla, you don't need seatbelts. It's another one of Musk's statements because it knows where you're sat.
Yeah, you hope that sensor never goes wrong, though, don't you? You imagine that sensor going wrong. You know what I mean? You're sitting like this, and the amount of burn you'll have off that thing. Oh my god!
Well, that's the thing, because he said with our airbag system, you can put a child on the front seat without a seatbelt on, and they won't be injured. So that's interesting.
Big claim.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Okay, gentlemen, that is it. We'll be back on Wednesday with Russell Bradley from BMW. Everybody else have a nice couple of days.
Yeah, and just enjoy sorting out your audio before Wednesday. It'd be nice if. You
see, I'm tempted to go and get a new mic, but I don't think it's the mic.
No,
I really don't, because we'll get a new Rode mic, which I want to get anyway. But yeah, we'll see. I'll try and sort it out before then. So, everybody, see you Wednesday.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.